Alright, so welcome to programming of Core Java. Here we are learning basics of Core Java, and in this video we will be covering about object-oriented programming. Right. So, OOP or object-oriented programming paradigm is kind of programming paradigm where we have to think like in the real world, right? So everything exists in real world, right? So we have to think like that. And the interesting thing about this programming paradigm is this is available in most of the programming languages, right? So, yeah, upcoming modern programming language, you will find OOPs in every programming language, right? And for example, let's say that there the main keyword first you have to look at the class, right? Object, and each object has some attributes and behavior, right? Now, I have told you about one, two, and this is one, two, about two terms, right? Class, object, attributes, and behavior. So, what is a class? So, class is generally a blueprint, and you can think of it like any class. So, every object will going to stay in a class, right? So, there will be some objects, right? And each object will going to have two things: attributes and behavior. So, what are the attributes? So attributes, you can say that, for example, if it's a human being, right? So it's a human being, so you can say that the name, height, age, gender, skin color, how much income he is getting. So all these things comes under the attributes and behaviors. So generally, human can walk, run, right? Speak, okay, speak, sleep, right? So you can see it here: walk, run, speak, sleep. So these things are behaviors. So in now this is for one thing like human, right? So similarly, you have to think for each object, um, right? So let's say another object, dog, right? So dog is another object, and here we have like breed, right? And the color of dog. So and breed, color, or you could say dog is also going to be have age, right? So these things are the attributes, and the behaviors are, what are the behaviors? Dog that like barking, right? So these things are behavior. Barking, running, these things are behavior. So now first thing that you need to do, you can think of it like a project. So you need to go and see everywhere and consider it as an object and try to find two things: the attributes and behaviors. So by this way, you will be mastering the way of thinking that how object-oriented programmer thinks, right? So the attributes and behaviors. So the first step when you get some project in object-oriented programming, or you have to solve the problem. So first step is thinking about the attributes and behaviors, right, for objects. So as I told you that the class is the blueprint, right? So it's a blueprint for object, right? So everything is going to reside under a class, right? So this is a class, right? And then we have the methods. So as we know from very earlier in C program, we will solving it, and we have seen many methods. We have created many methods, which is known as the functions, right? So don't get confused with methods and functions, right? So both are the same thing. This is method and this is function. So never get confused with these two terminologies, methods and functions. So both are the same thing. In object-oriented programming, we call it generally methods, and in functional programming paradigm, this is something called function. So function is some specific task, right, which done by some specific block of code, right? So similarly, we have here methods, right? So let's do something rather than just talking. Okay, let's create a class here. New class, and name this class my class. Always remember. Okay, I'll be telling you about it. So the class name is always going to be the capital letter. Remember that, right? And method will always going to be smaller name. Let's delete this. This no need of this. So how to delete anything? So here you have to come delete, and generally use save delete, right? So by using save delete, you will not going to mess up with anything. Just delete that, right? So now we are in a main class, right? So my class, first we will be demonstrating the methods, right? What are the methods? So let's create a method, static void. And how we are creating the main method? So the way we will be creating like this: public static void main, right? So string. So this is the method which is necessary for every program, as I've told you about it, right? So it's out. Okay. So that's how we were doing, right? Hello, right? So main is also a kind of method, and I found that this is one of the easiest way to explain about method. And the noticing thing is that the class always start from capital M, and if you look at the class name, it is also the class name and the file name will always going to be same. So my class dot java and my class, right? So this is worth noticing, and when you might be doing programming, so there may not be availability of the let's say editor, right? So in that case you have to need in your mind, otherwise it will raise an error. So this is one method, and we all know about what it's going to do because we have seen it earlier. So let's do something different again. Let's say static, create a static method which is not return nothing. Say hello, right? Now it is going to do something. So always look at that the naming convention because it is necessary to remember. So say hello. Cloud hello sorry, right? So now this is a class that we have created, right? And we need a test class. Let's say, okay, let's create a test class here. If you're following me, then it will be easier for you. So why I'm creating separate class, so that we will be making use of everything, right? So this is test class creating, and here we'll be creating a public static void main, right? So this is a driver function string, and this we have one method here, right? Say hello. Okay, leave that. We'll be using here public static void, right? So say hello. Alright, so we have called this function 3 times, and if you run this, so you will see, yeah, hello Saleh. So that's how we solve the problems, right? Alright, so this is how methods work, right? So you can see that we have created a method to say hello, and then we just simply um, calling these methods. So this is known as the method call, right? So we are calling these methods, and we have called 3 times, right? And the benefit of these things is, suppose you have written many numbers of lines of code here, right? And so once you write this, so you can use this anytime, right? and and how many numbers of times that you want you can use, right? So there is no limitations. So this is the benefit of writing methods, right? So I think that you have understand this about methods. So generally method is a collection of statements that are grouped together to perform an operations, and this is also known as the functions. And one interesting thing you could we have to demonstrate here, let's say that this method is going to be like return type, right? So let's say that it's string, right? And this method we're going to take some arguments. So now we have changed two things. We're going to change two things. The return type, this is the return type is string, right? And okay, let's consider this again. Void string name, right? And let's, right, hello name. And now you see that this hello my class cannot be applied. So simply you have to pass the a parameter here. So it's going to be Saleh. Let's pass another parameter here, which is going to be Adam, and let's pass another parameter here, um, Aman, right? So as you can see here, we have passed three parameters, and if we run this program, so you will see, yes. So you see that hello Saleh, hello Adam, and hello Aman, right? So what we have done is we are taking, this is the argument taken, right? So generally known as the how argument, function takes the argument and then utilize the argument, those arguments, and then printing those things, those names, right? So this is the argument. And if we have to change the or do something differently, let's say let's create another function, static int type function, right? Static int add, right? So this is going to take two arguments, x and y, and what it will do is it will return the value x plus y, which is the addition of, right? So it's a kind of calculator, you can think of it like this, and it is your task to complete this calculator, by the way. And let's, in z is equal to add, so if you pass three values, let's say 4 and 7, so you can see it here, right? So we are passing 4 and 7 in a method. So how you know that this is method? So method is start with lowercase, right? So this is method, and we are then storing this value into z, and then we have to print this z, right? And if we run this program, all right, so you will see you will see you will see that the 11. So what's going here, we are calling this method, right? Simple method, and then we are running this program, and now it's your task, you have to write method, for like this way, addition static and subtraction, right? Which will take two arguments, return x minus y, right? So similarly you have to write the calculator program, right? So this is the task that you have to do by your own. All right, so this is the basic thing, right, about class. Okay, let's create a new class and say this is the animal class, right? So we are creating animal class here, and generally I have told you that each class or animal is an object, right? So each object is going to have two things, the attributes, okay, attributes, and the behavior, right? So behaviors, attributes are sometimes also known as some variables, right? So instance variables. So you could call these attributes like this. For example, so what are the attributes going to be in animal class? Let's say this will going to be like legs, right? And color, oh sorry, color is going to be string type, maybe, yeah. And what, string breed, right? So these things are attributes, right? So you could write many numbers of attributes if you want, and it's up to you. And the next thing that we have to do is the behavior, find the behavior. So animal possess like behaviors are kind of methods, you could say, or method, you could say, right? So you will say that the method is going to be like provide um, sound, right? So there there are many kinds of animals have different kind of sounds, right? So let's say that this is meow, wait, meow. So let's assume that this is going to be cat and the sound is going to be like meow. So this is the method, right? Sound, run. So you have to run. So things are methods. So let's say however, yes, this is running the method, right? So these things are behavior or methods, and the important thing is to not focusing over this much, right? And you automatically will be knowing that the word is going to be sound, it's going to be running, right? And let's get a different class, something like